Hey, I'm Chris from Awen Hollek. Today we're going to look at the most common types of squishy toys on the market. We'll compare how they feel, what they're made of, and the pros and cons of each, while I walk you through real samples so you can decide which squishy is best for your brand or collection. This first one is a classic PU foam squishy, the slow rising type you see everywhere. As I squeeze it, you can see how it slowly comes back to shape. That's the typical PU feel: soft, dense, and very satisfying in the hand. If you look closely along the edges, you'll notice these parting lines. That's where the two halves of the mold meet. On cheaper production, you'll see thicker seams or a bit of flashing, whereas better tools and trimming give you a much cleaner outline and better perceived quality. Inside you can see the open cell PU foam, basically a sponge. Cell size and density control how slow it rises. Fine, uniform cells feel smoother and recover evenly. Bigger, irregular bubbles can tear faster, and also check the Oskin coating. Too thin can crack, too thick can feel rubbery. Next up is a TPR shell squishy filled with a soft dough compound. When I squeeze it, you can see how far it stretches and forms these bubble shapes. The feel is really soft and skin-like, and it's great for tactile play compared to PU foam. This doesn't rely on slow rise pores. The effect comes from a flexible TPR outer skin and the filler moving inside. That usually means a different kind of durability, less foam tearing, but the weak points become seams, welding, and any sharp edges in the tooling. Now watch this part. This toy also has a fabric sleeve. That's a way to make the product feel more premium, add character details, and improve grip. But it's not just wrap it in cloth. The sleeve needs its own pattern, fixtures, and often a dedicated mold or molded features to lock it in place, especially if you want consistent mass production. Inside you can see the white dough paste that fills it. This is what gives that stretchy bubble-like feel. But it also feels sticky on the hands. The key is how well the shell is sealed, because leakage and residue are the big quality risks with this type. This one looks similar from the outside. It's still a TPR shell, but the filler is different. Instead of PU foam, it's filled with PVA. When you squeeze it, the feel is still very soft and stretchy because the outer skin is doing a lot of the work. The main difference is the filler PVA gives a more gel-like, dense resistance and a different hand feel, which some brands prefer for a premium tactile sensation. Here's the PVA material on its own. It's white, very sticky, and you'll notice it feels cool to the touch. That's typical of this kind of hydrated polymer. It's great for that squishy sensation, but it also brings product risks. It can pick up dust, leave residue, and if the shell or seals aren't perfect, it can leak or dry out over time. So for mass production, the formula sealing method and packaging all matter a lot. This one is a TPR shell too, but the filler is completely different. It's packed with tiny plastic beads. People often call it sand, but it's really micro balls. When I squeeze it, notice it doesn't rebound like PU foam or dough filled types. That's because the beads shift and stay where you push them, so the toy holds the deformed shape until you manually knead it back. You also get that signature crunchy sound. You can literally hear the beads rubbing and moving inside the shell. That sound and texture can be a feature, but it also means the main risks are shell wear, seam strength, and bead leakage, especially around weld lines. Here's the filler up close. These are the tiny plastic beads. They're what create the crunchy feel and the shape holding behavior, but they also explain why quality control is critical. If the seal fails, you don't just get a sticky mess, you get thousands of loose beads, which is both a customer complaint and a safety concern. This one is a translucent TPR squishy filled with water and glitter. Because the shell is clear, you get that visual floating effect when you squeeze it, which is great for shelf appeal. The water also helps it return to shape after you press it, but the tactile feel is usually simpler than dough, foam, or bead-filled versions. It's more about the look than the resistance. The big watch outs here are sealing quality and long-term leakage. because even a tiny weak weld will become a customer complaint. Here's the filler, basically water with glitter. It's inexpensive and looks fun, but it needs clean assembly, strong sealing, and the right packaging. Because if it leaks during shipping, you'll have glitter everywhere and a product that's instantly unsellable. This one is a TPR shell filled with maltose, and you feel the difference immediately. It's firmer to squeeze, and when you let go it returns very, very slowly. That slow recovery is the signature of this fill. Compared to water or dough, maltose has a much higher viscosity, so it resists movement inside the shell and gives that dense, heavy premium feel. The trade-off is manufacturing and after-sales risk. Because it's thicker and heavier, you need strong seals, clean filling control, and consistent shell thickness. If the welding or seams aren't perfect, a slow leak becomes a sticky mess, and customers will notice fast. Here's the filler itself, transparent maltose. It's extremely sticky and it clings to everything. That's why packaging, sealing, and material compatibility matter a lot with this type. One small failure and the product becomes unsellable. Last one, a translucent TPR squishy fill with slime and glitter. Visually it's similar to the water-filled version, but the feel is a bit different. The slime has more body, so it gives a slightly richer, more squishy resistance when you press it. It's a great option when you want that floating glitter look, but with a little more texture than plain water. As always, the key risk is sealing quality, because even a tiny leak turns into a sticky customer complaint. Here's the filler up close. You can see it's not fully watery. It holds together on the table instead of instantly spreading everywhere. That thicker consistency is what improves the hand feel and helps reduce splashing inside the shell, but it also means the formula needs to stay stable over time. For production, you're balancing appearance, viscosity, and long-term stability, plus packaging that keeps it clean and dust-free. Quick takeaway: if you want the classic slow rise feel, go PU. For premium skin and stretch, use TPR with dough or paste. For crunchy texture and sound, go bead filled. For pure visual impact, water or slime with glitter. And if you want dense slow return, maltose is the heavy hitter. In the next video, I'll show you how to choose the right one based on cost, durability, and target age, so subscribe to our channel and see you later for more tips about toy making.